So I also would like to talk today about local variables, and in fact also global variables. So anyway, you can see that these functions, which we said are placeholders for executable code. By the way, they're called methods in Java, and method in Java has to be hosted inside a class. In C and C++, you don't have to have class, which is like a feature that comes from object-oriented world, but here you can have just basic functions as placeholder to do something useful. Okay, so for instance, F maybe a better name for this would be print greeting, right? We should choose like descriptive names. F is just too abstract for me, and I really not really fond of single character names or identifiers in my programs. So print greeting is perhaps a better choice because that's what it currently does, right? But let's talk about local variables. Local variables are those variables declared inside a function, right? So obviously a comment like this, local variables, should not be a comment that you use in your code. Instead, you just like type in your code, but I'll keep it for as long as we have this conversation. Let me say int value equals 0, okay? So this is an example of, this is right here, this is an example of creation of a local variable. So let's perhaps do a quick review of what it takes to create a local variable. Okay, so if I have some sort of function, and that function, we're going to say void foo, okay, function has to have parentheses, absolutely, right? It must have the body, so the body is like where we can do things. And when I say int to create a local variable, I need to use the data type. This int is the data type. I need to have a name, such as the one that I used was value, all right? So the name should be descriptive, and it's really advised to, when you create new variable, instantly give it some initial value. We call it variable initializer, essentially part of variable declaration like this, which specifies what the initial value is. And what does the semicolon indicate at the end of this portion of my code? It indicates that this is an executable statement. So sometimes when you go to a job interview, someone could ask you, do you think that variable declaration is an executable statement or not? And the answer should be yes. And if you think about it, yes, you have to waste some CPU cycles, some effort on your computer central processing unit to create a variable, allocate space for it, provide the initial value, and things like that. So yes, some execution is involved, therefore it's not a surprise that creation of a variable like this is an executable statement. So once again, the initial question was, what does it take to create a local variable? Well, first of all, you place it inside a function body, number one, right? Number two, you use the data type, okay? Int is a built-in or fundamental or primary data type that comes with the language. It's called int, which stands for just a integer number, natural number such as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and also minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A value, you have to give your variable a name, okay? A name that, variable names is what we talk about, but another technical name for it is identifier. Okay, identifier. Identifier is just the name that we give a local variable, and of course it's advisable that we use this part right here, which is called the initializer. Okay, of course, initializer is needed because typically you don't want to create your variables with unknown values. Pretty much, let me demonstrate this, right? Let's do it this way. I told you that function, such as print greeting, which originally was function f, now it's called print greeting, can have input variables or input parameters or input arguments. These are all names that are used for function input. So it could take int value, it could take int value as an input parameter. Okay, so value here becomes an input parameter, and I will pass this value as input parameter, and I will say hello, comma, %d, which stands for decimal integer, and over here I add another parameter to this print function call, and I say value. Okay, so let's see what this program does. And I think we need to talk about specifically, we need to talk about everything that happens in this little program that we have. So let's do a very quick overview. We have a main function, so we know exactly where the program starts. We said that functions can have local variables, and value is one of the local variables that we would like to use. We initialize it with 0. Then we call print greeting. Okay. In print greeting, I have changed so that now instead of empty parentheses, it's actually taken an integer value. And I actually use it inside this function somehow. So let's see what happens. Build. Okay, so I just go ahead and build this program. Okay, so same headers, print greeting, and I begin to execute it by saying debug. Oh, and what it did was it says hello. Okay, oh, I just realized that my format is a little bit messed up. So what it printed was hello, then it printed new line, okay, then it printed comma space, and then it printed 0 right here. As you can see, there's like comma space, and there's this little 0. So I need to pay attention to my format. So let me fix this and make it better. In fact, I'll leave it for you to see what was wrong, and when I want to fix it, as you can see, I kind of routinely use these line comments to say this is a comment, this is not an executable statement anymore. So I will keep this the same way. So instead of using new line in the string that I output, I just make it look like hello and use new line inside this format string, and I will supply hello and then value, and hello and value are going to replace %s and %d in this first argument, which is passed to printf, which is basically like a little template to use for the stuff that gets printed. Okay, let's print it, let's build it again, I guess, right, and then run it. And so this way it's a little friendlier. So it prints hello. Okay, so hello replaces this %s right here. Then we have comma space, which is the next thing that we see in our output right here, right? And then it prints 0 because value happens to be 0. Let's change 0 to 1, 2, 3. And if you're running your if you're still running your program, and if you try to build it, right? If you say build, you see how it fails, and it says fatal error, cannot open file for writing. Obviously, the program is running, and when the program is still running, you cannot just simply like delete that file and create new version of it. So we have to exit out of the program and then go back and say build. This time it builds properly, and so I changed value to 123. When I run it now, it says hello 123. Okay, so obviously it does something, but we have yet to explain what exactly does it do. Okay, and our focus is mostly right now on our local variables.